Welcome back, crew. Thanks for joining me today. Today, going to cover something slightly different. Going to be talking about my experience at the recent Nationals that we had just on the weekend here in Australia. Now, I want to cover basically, all of my matchups in this. I want to talk about the reflections that I've had about using Doffy specifically. So this is a very Doffy-centric video, but my experience at Nationals with him. The aim of my channel in general is not only to grow myself, but to grow those who are watching it. So part of my reflections and my experience is, I guess, reflection helps yourself grow, but also I'm hoping that you guys can take something from this and prepare yourselves adequately for when you partake in, the championships, whether it be regionals, whether it be nationals. Just wanted you guys to take this experience that I've had, learn from it, and, grow as well. So that out of the way, what we are going to be talking about are the matchups, specifically that I had. Going to be talking about my deck list. Also, I'm going to talk about the two Doffy players that made it to top 32. I've got the deck list that they had, and we're going to be breaking down what their deck list included and sort of what that means, and also think about that, about possible directions we might take our Doffy deck in the near future. So first up, let's talk about the list that I decided to bring to the Nationals, some of my decisions here. You'll notice there are some slight variations from the list I was using in preparation for Nats, and I did sort of speak about it in the video that there were some things I wasn't happy with. Now, I did end up going with the 4 sugar for Dellinger here. Just getting that searcher early on, I think, is very important. I went with 2 Gladius, and this was more for the go wide matchups, right? I cut him down from 3 to 2. I thought I should find him enough with 2 in the deck. He's not a crucial element in those matches, so he's there. He's a 1k at worst. He is a body that can attack. I like those things about him, so I thought I'm going to give him a try in this list. I've gone with 4 Viola, so I have upped Viola by 1 in this list. And a big part was I was noticing with my defensive strategy, I had a lot of emphasis in holding a very defensive game. And that was basically a board with Viola, Baby 5, and, having a Noro. This was a strong part of my decision making, so I thought I'm going to up this one because I thought about upping Baby 5, but Baby 5 costs a redirect. And a lot of our things cost a redirect, where Viola does not cost a redirect. We get to block, so we get to block 1, we're redirecting, and we get to use our leader effect, we're redirecting. That's 2. Noro, that's a 3rd one. Like, we are covering the board with just these things. I can always redirect into something else, but I can't always block with something else. So added the extra Viola instead of the Baby 5. Our Uso Hachi stayed the same. Sugar has stayed the same at 4. Baby 5 stayed the same at 3. Rosinante stayed at 2. This is one thing that I was umming and ahhing right before submitting the list, was do I put him up to 3? And I think I'll talk about that soon, but right now we're talking about the decision making going into Nationals. Virgo 4, that's a must. We stuck with 2 for treble, so that was a reduction by 1. I think that was still okay. We went with 4 Monet, I think that's a given. Gone for 3 of the 9 cost, 4 of the 10 cost. Now, here's one other variation here. I upped Divine Departure by 1, and I reduced Bullet String by 1. And I think that was a good decision. Let's have a look. So this was the list I ran, just so you've got context of what's going on here. Let's have a look at the matchups that I had. So first up, here are the matchups. And you'll see down there 5-5. That was actually the end result there. Sort of a little bit disappointed with that, but I'll go through everything, and don't take this as a reflection of the deck. So today I want to talk about the areas that I made mistakes in. I want to talk about my overall thought about Doffy in one of these tournaments. And this is a must here because it is very important. And I'm not saying don't take him. I think you should take him. You just need to be aware of these considerations. So let's have a look. The first up was yellow Luffy. Next, we had green Bonney. We had 3 more Mihawks across the day. I had 2 Morias across the day. 1 Roger, Kuzan, and purple Luffy. They're the matchups. So I need to let you guys know one other thing for the Oceania Nationals in particular. We actually had some issues with promo packs for OP14, and this impacted the promo Roger. So I knew going into this that promo Roger was not available, and I know some of you were requesting videos for the matchup into Luffy, blue purple Luffy. And I'm like, I'm going to hold off on that because the reason being the promo Roger wasn't available. There was no point covering that match for this. So with all of this, just be aware, in my Roger match, that 8 cost was not available. And that sort of impact. So also take that in mind. The overall standings with this Oceania Nationals is going to be a little bit different to what you're going to see if you're competing in another country. So they're the matchups. 5-5 was the result. Let's talk about how I got to that result. All right, so first up, round 1, nervous round. I get paired with yellow Luffy, and I was saying to everyone around me before the thing started, I just hope I find a yellow Luffy because I haven't lost a match to yellow Luffy yet. So I'm like, give me a yellow Luffy any day. And they're all like, no, you can have all the yellow Luffys. Well, we got this yellow Luffy. We won the dice roll, went second. And I was just able to implement the strategy, was able to just clear the board, chip away at life. As more things came to the board, chip away at the board, chip away at life. Till eventually they had nothing left and could just go in for the win. Now, time was an issue with this game. You've probably seen me play this on the sim, and we usually go down to round 11 or something like that. Takes a lot of time, and every search that you're doing with your deck, every movement that they're taking also takes time as well. So that stacks over rounds, and it was getting a bit hairy there with time. So that was a consideration, but we did take the win on that one, and that was that. Great start to the day. So after the Luffy, we went into Bonney here. And Bonney, I haven't had a lot of matchups with Doffy into Bonney. In fact, I can't think of one matchup I've had into Bonney. I've done lots of Bonney matchups with other decks, and I had a fair idea how to approach it when I did see it was Bonney. But essentially, I feel as though Doffy is an advanced version of Bonney. Yeah, you treat them the same. I was sort of treating this like a mirror match, but you're not going to have the intricacies of, get rid of the Virgo and things like that. So there was an element of it should be okay. If they've got, I don't know if they're running a kid. If they've got a kid, we can just take that out with our 10 costs. Like just get to the 10 costs as quickly as possible was sort of the plan there. Now, in this match, I made a critical mistake, and it wasn't even towards the end, but they attacked into me with, I can't even remember what character it was, but it has a 8,000 power, and it attacked into my Virgo, and I've got 2 1Ks in hand. That's all I've got in my hand. The rest are all just bricks. And they attacked into the Virgo. I thought to myself, if I defend this now, they have enough on board to actually just wipe me out. So I ended up thinking all this through and went, I'm not going to be able to defend it. I think I need to, and they still had all their Don up. So they had 9 Don up still. They would have just been able to, add extra Don and wipe this Virgo out anyway. I thought, I've got to be safe here. Don't want to lose, my 10 cost, which was also rested. Don't want to lose this. So I let the Virgo go. This was a mistake. Do not let your Virgo go. The following move, and if you're following what Bonney does, 9 Don left. Shanks came down. Shanks cleared the 10 cost. That turn, I lost both the Virgo and the 10 cost. That was huge. That was a huge loss for that game. I was able to stabilize after it relatively good though. I did get my 8 cost Doffy down. I can't remember what I got out with it. It might have been a Rosinante. Yeah, it could have been the Rosinante. I can't quite recall what it was that I got down after it. But we were able to stabilize a lot there. They were always slightly ahead on the board, and I just couldn't catch up. It did come down to the wire, but at the end of the day, they were able to get that win, and it was solely to do with that mistake, letting Virgo go. I think I could have survived if I didn't. I think it was too early for them to push for game, but I mean, I had 5 cards in hand and they didn't know the rest were bricks, so I think they wouldn't have pushed for game. Anyway, that was the first loss. So, did take the loss there. My nerves instantly dissipated then. Once you hit that first loss, it's sort of like, okay, well, today's not the day, but can just play a lot more relaxed. So, let's have a look at what the next round looked like. All right, so next round, Mihawk. Mihawk, we have the strategy guide for this one. We know how to take the approach for this matchup. We win the dice roll. We get second. Everything's looking really, really good here. Now, in this match, we missed the 4 cost ramp. And that did hinder us a lot. And they were actively playing around it. I did get the Monet down on the next turn. So all I need to do is redirect attack into Monet, and I can ramp to 8, and I can take down their Shanks. On that turn, they dropped the Shanks. They had a Bonney on board as a blocker, which I believe it was 6 cost. And yeah, with their leader, they're like, okay, 7 at face. I'm like, okay, well, they're making sure that they're not going to attack me with 6. This isn't going to work here. I redirected into Dallinger looking for stuff. And then they decided to swing with the Bonney. I've used my redirect, so now I can't redirect into Monet. I take the hit, and Noro clutch here. Noro from the life, trigger out a active Don, ramps me to 8, and then I go into my turn. Yeah, they did drop the Shanks. We get to then drop our 10 cost, wipe out the Shanks. This was feeling really, really good. Really good on this one. From there, I was able to control the board a bit. I did miss taking down their Mihawk on the next turn. I didn't have a Divine Departure. I just had to swing into it with my 10 cost. They had enough counter to get out of that one. I misread the amount of counter that they did have. And they kept the Mihawk. It wasn't the worst. We still were able to get ahead on their board. I got their hand down low and applied lots of pressure. The problem was we weren't able to do it quick enough. And in this game, you know, I had to say to my opponent, let's speed it up a bit. And perhaps I should have called a judge to get them to speed it up a little bit, because it did feel like they were dragging out the game. They had 3 life. I had 1 or none throughout the whole thing and just baby 5'd it back. And, you know, we go to time and they're going to win on life. So, and I think they knew that, trying to speed it up. And we did go to time. We went into overtime, and at that point I had to change my strategy. I had to play aggressively. If we didn't go into overtime, if I had another, 3 more turns, I would have been able to take the game. I had the stronger board, and it was just a matter of time of I needed a turn to swing into their characters, take them all out, and then chip at their life, re-establish, chip at their life, and just take it down that next turn, or chip at their board and then chip at their life. I just needed that extra turn or 2 and would have had it. And it was the time that was the factor there. I had to play aggressively. I lost my defense because I played aggressively, and they, 1k counter. Sorry, they 1k'd, above the amount of counter that I had. It just came really down to that minute thing there. Very disappointed with that loss, because that one was something that I did feel like I would have won that match. That's how that goes. So, bit of disappointment at the end of round 3. All right, let's go into round 4 here. Round 4, we got Moria. Pretty sure I won the dice roll for this one. We chose second and had to mulligan. The first hand was terrible. Second hand was no good either. I had 2 Gladius in hand and what was it? It was 2 of something else, which was, a 2 of in the deck. Maybe it was 2 Rosinante. It was just crazy to see that in my hand. Anyway, throughout the game, I didn't see a single 10 cost, which makes this matchup a lot harder because ideally what I want to do is get that tall body just to pressure the board, set up my defense, and then just attack the board, attack at face. And they played really good. This was not a even though I lost 2, this guy still knew what he was doing. He had a like One Piece was his main, but he'd been playing Yu-Gi-Oh before he started One Piece, so he knew what he was doing there. I kind of got lucky just with the triggers in that game and was just able to take advantage there and take the win there. So, that was great. Confidence booster here. We're back to 2-2. It's not abysmal at this point. I mean, still 2 losses, but sort of reclaiming a little bit here and really feeling like the result that I've got so far isn't reflective of the way I was playing, but it is what it is. Those one small decisions just changed the shape of the game. All right, let's have a look at what happens next. So what happens next is it's lunchtime. So here we get a break for lunch. It's 1:10 the time I finish. They let us know that lunch will be after that last round, the one that I had with Moria, which I think started at 12:40. We finished the game, half an hour in. We've got so that was one of my quickest rounds that I finished. It only took me 30 minutes to finish when we got 35 minutes for the round. And yeah, got off, went straight, grabbed a what was it? A chicken and avocado roll. Was pretty good at that stage. Just want to also say, in Melbourne, this is where the Oceania finals was, Melbourne, Australia. 40 Celsius day, which is 104 degrees Fahrenheit, just to give you a reference. We weren't feeling that heat in the venue. The venue was very well air conditioned, didn't have a sense of that heat, but the venue was very air conditioned and just, taking away all of the moisture from my body. So I don't know, probably a little bit dehydrated from the day as a whole. Had my bottle, drank lots of water, but yeah, I was thirsty come lunch, and lunch was sort of reinvigorating a little bit. That's all I want to talk about lunch, but just letting you know how the break went. It was the day actually started at I got there around just before 9. That's when you're able to line up for the tickets and or your entry. And we didn't actually get in there and get started till 10:20. So yeah, 4 rounds got us to 110. Let's go into round 5. All right, round 5, we see another Mihawk here. Mihawk is this one here. We lost the dice roll and we got second, and that's pretty good. Really happy about that. The guy I was playing, he's actually a sponsored player. Like, he's high caliber player, and I was actually quite surprised to see this player. I've lost 2-1-2, so to come into this round 5 where he would have won 2, lost 2 as well, and to see a sponsored player at that level, I'm like, oh, the competition must be pretty tough today. And there was no point where I thought the competition were, just your casual player that's come to play at Nats. That they all the opponents I had were quite strong. Anyway, we lost the dice roll. We went second. We had to mulligan. We didn't get any 1 cost. So I went 1 cost pass. Turn 2, we got second. I believe I had the baby 5 on this one, not the sugar. I would have preferred sugar, but this is how it goes sometimes. Anyway, I missed one of my I missed one of my ramps. I think it was the Monet one. Anyway, we go in. I go into their 7 Don turn going, oh, Shanks is going to come down. I'm not going to have an answer for Shanks. And they didn't get Shanks down either. They didn't actually find the Shanks. So that was kind of a relief for me. I was sort of back in the game at that stage because they weren't able to get that high body in there. Gave me an extra turn, and we're able to then establish our board. They got their board going as well. It was a pretty grueling battle this game here. We both went pretty hard, and at the end it sort of came down just to one decision. We both gassed out, and I attacked into him. He he got out of that. I'm like, this is fine. We set up for next turn. I set up the blockers, set up blocker, baby 5. We're all set. I've calculated it all. So if every one of his attackers attacks, we're going to be fine. Anyway, he goes into his turn and he finishes with a 1-cost event. Don't know if you've seen it. Let me find it. So he comes in with the 1-cost event that I've got on the screen here, and this 1-cost event, I need to update the Mihawk guide because I noticed it in a couple of Mihawk decks, and shutting down 2 of our characters, really detrimental, particularly when one of them's Viola. So he was able to shut it down. I had no answers to this response here, and yeah, he ends up taking the game from that point. I actually almost had enough counter to get out of it too. 1k short, and he takes the game there. Really, really nice player. Had some great discussions with him as a whole. Really fantastic, but disappointing. This is 2 Mihawks I've lost to, and Mihawk was one match I was feeling very, very confident with. Anyway, back down to 2-3. Not feeling great about how this is going, but got to acknowledge the competition's strong. All right, I want to go and talk about round 6 for a sec. So Roger is in. I haven't prepared for Roger because Roger, as I said, the promo is not available. That's not in there. Now, I do know the Roger deck. I have played it a lot in, OP13, and I'm just assuming it's sort of the same build. Which it pretty much was. I didn't ask about the differences, but I just assumed it was, and that's sort of how it unfolded. Anyway, we won the dice roll, which I chose second. I'm like, they've got to be wanting to ramp. They want to get there quicker. Let's take second, and this helps us. So we take second. Now, things were going really good. I got to 10 cost. I got my curve perfectly. This is going great. I got to 10 cost Israeli on curve. Following that, he dropped the 10 cost Shanks, the one that negs off the board, and just got to Divine Departure, that Shanks attack into it, really strong. And then, I think he had one other thing on the board, attacked in, took that turn as well. Started to, and I did low attacks first. I did low attacks, took some cards from hand, then did the big one. So I was attacking hand and board on the same turn. Things are going really good here. Now, what I ended up doing was, with one of the turns, I could sort of see what was going to happen. We had no life at this stage. I've got a baby 5 on field. I'm like, this is good. He ended up having 2 more on board. I'm like, I can, what can I do here? I can redirect 1. I can baby 5. Redirect 1, baby 5. That's the life. I have a blocker on board. I just need 1 more blocker. 1 more blocker for the rush character that he's going to get out, and he's going to drop the Roger, isn't he? The Roger's going to come down because he's going to try and take advantage of me having no life. So I'm like pretty confident this is going to be a Roger play that he goes for next turn. Built my board to combat that, and he's on 3 life, so I need to take some of his life and then just finish him the turn after. So I attack into him a bunch of times, finish my turn, pass it over to him. And in that, he does exactly what I think. He attacks into me at face. I'm like, it doesn't matter what cost. I mean, I could have gotten out of it. I had cards in hand. I could have just counted out of it, but I'm like, let's just go into baby 5 while it's there in case there's something. He's got to remove the baby 5, hit the baby 5, redirect it, get the life back. He drops the Roger and attacks into me. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Block the Roger with one of my violas, and he's like, oh, I win. You blocked. Like, what are you talking about? I've got the life back now. We are fine here. This is not a win. He's like, no, my life is at 0. I'm like, I actually blanked on this completely. I attacked into him. I took 3 life off him. Didn't even realize he was on 3 life at that point. I don't know what happened. I think this is where some of that dehydration or something. I've lost 3 times and just not feeling the best about things. And this simple thing here, it's going to live rent-free in my mind for some time. It was the biggest mistake I made of the day, and I was in complete disbelief that could have happened. Like, how do you lose to a Roger block? He was almost ready to concede because my board was so strong. He had no chance of winning unless I did that. Anyway, that is just something that can happen. It's not something you can really learn from. I mean, don't block a Roger, but other than that, it's just I guess the one takeaway is the mental tax of Doffy across the day is a lot. You are playing every round to that 30-minute mark, and it's gonna take its toll across the day. So I suggest preparing your, I guess, mind and body for that sort of endurance. That's my takeaway from this one here. Anyway, record now is at 2-4, feeling like the day has gone very horribly here. All right, round 7, we find another Mihawk. This is our 3rd Mihawk for the day, and we've lost to 2 already at this stage. Just keep that in mind. Lost to 2. We lose a dice roll and they choose first. And this is one of the reasons why I like Doffy, is we have the advantage here. They want to go first. We want to go second. So either way, this is great for us. So we hit the curve perfectly here. We get the baby 5, not the sugar for ramp. And and then we Monet ramp the second one. I think I violaed in between with the extra 3 Don. And as I said, I've got more violas than I usually do. So I think that happened, twice or 3 times in the day. And anyway, so he does drop the Shanks on 7. We answer that Shanks straight away with our 10 cost. We Divine Departure his Mihawk. He's just left empty. And I kind of felt bad on this match because he's probably come into this match having a pretty horrible day too, and I've just come in with every answer, and he didn't look like he was having a great day, and that didn't make me feel great about the win. So a little bit bummed about that, but we did take the win from that point. He just couldn't establish the board. We just had too much pressure. Was able to bully his life. He'd bully his hand. Everything just was not going his way, and took that win quite comfortably. He didn't do any misplays as well. Like, I didn't see anything that he did which could have changed that. It was just simply he was matched against Doffy. We had our curve. There was nothing he could do. That was a win. Let's move on because that was it was a bitter win. Let's have a look at round 8. All right, round 8, we get another Moria, and over lunch, I did win a Moria, and I let someone know how I won a Moria, and the guy I was speaking to is like, there was someone across the table from me that was playing Doffy and lost to a Moria, and he was saying how the Moria match is unwinnable, and I'm like, whoa, the Moria match is definitely winnable. Check out my guide if you haven't on how to beat Moria, and you guys can do that too. This one here was, once again, really good. We won the dice roll. We chose second. We hit the perfect curve. We got to our 10 cost really quickly. I had 2 10 costs in hand. They had the 6 cost Gecko Moria on the field. I'm like, well, I'm just going to use one on this. I've got the Monet as well. So I can always redirect if they get the 8 cost Moria down. I'm just going to, hit into that anyway. The way it plays out is they don't go for the 8 cost, they get the 9 cost down, the 9 cost Boa down, strip a life, get a life back. We are just able to, on the following turn, when they play the 8 cost, we take that out. And then I can't remember if I Divine Departure their Boa or not, but we were able to clear it off the field and then just go with our usual strategy into Moria of, here's another thing is they did not have, I checked their trash, they did not have the yellow hog back in their trash. So I was able to freely hit it life, have one left to hit it whatever they play out. And that was the strategy, hit it life, hit one left. If I've hit life and they don't trigger and I've got one left, I don't attack. I just pass turn. And was just able to take that one really, really easily there. So yeah, it was just got the body, set up defense, and just go with that strategy. Moria is not unbeatable. Moria is beatable, very beatable. That was a confidence booster. I'm back to 4-4 now. I'm like, okay, I can redeem myself a little bit here. Hopefully I can get to like at least a 6 here. I might be able to get 6-4. It'll be hard to get 6-4, but let's just go for it. All right, next match. Round 9, Kuzan. We lose a dice roll. He has a think and goes, I'm going to take first. So I think this was quite strategic. This was my highlight game. This was the funnest game I played of the day, of the year. It was a very, very strategic, calculated game on both our parts. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the game. So we lose a dice roll. I'm not familiar with the Kuzan cards in general. I didn't keep up to what it was. It was on my list to check out. Just ran out of time to check out all the cards. Anyway, how it sort of goes down is I get the 10 cost out. I've got my choice of targets. I'm looking at a Isho, a Garp, and a Sakazuki. I rule out the Isho. I'm like, he's less power. And then I just sort of selected Garp. Just straight away, I'm like, Garp, because he was the next one closest. And I'm like, just Garp. Wasn't I'm more thinking about at this point, I've had a lot of games that have gone to 30 minutes or more. And I know Kuzan's got quite a hand. And what I was worried about entering this game is we're going to go to time and I'm going to lose because I'm not going to have the life. This was a big concern. So I make quicker plays here. I'm trying to do everything quicker throughout the match so this does not happen. And I'm like, Garp. And then after that, I'm like, why? Why would I choose Garp when, this Sakazuki here has a when attacking effect? Garp, he's used his effect. This was just a silly decision. I didn't even need to look at what the effect does. It's when attacking, same power level, just take that thing out. And I think it was only because Garp was a higher cost that I selected him, but that is not the decision you make. That was a terrible decision. And it was one, I think it was the only critical decision I made which led to losing. Everything else I feel like I played perfectly. The thing is, he played perfectly as well. Everything was super calculated. It was actually a really clutch ending. In the end, it sort of came down to this. We were able to take down his hand quite significantly. He got 5 left in hand at the end there. I got him down to 2, I think, cards, and then took some of his life to get him back up to 5. It was basically he had to take me out or I would lose. Sorry, he had to take me out or he would lose. And what he did a really, really clutch move. So my opponent pulls off a really clutch move. For his last attack, what he does is he drops this Hina. And what the Hina does is stops one of my characters from resting. Which, of course, he targets the Viola that I've got on board. And I need Viola because I've got 2 Don up. I've got no Noronoros in hand, but I do have one in trash. So what my plan was first attack he does, he's got 3 characters on board and his leader. And I'm not sure if I've got a life at this stage. Basically what happens is here's how it needed, this is what I needed. I needed to block his first attack with Viola, get the Noro out. So when the second attack came, I Noro that. I must have had 1 life here. I Noro that, and then he has the Kuzan, which takes the last life, and I'm okay with that. And I think I had 3 attackers on board, so it didn't matter if he then went into one of my board. I still had enough. He had no life. We were going to be fine here. He also did have like a 1k or 2k body on the field, which was a little bit nervous about. But I felt if he spread across between the 2, I'd be okay. So anyway, he stops the Viola, and that's just ruined my plan. I'm like, oh no, this is not good. He did have to commit some Don to do it. I sort of checked the Don count, took the first life. The life was, I did have life. The life was good, gave me some more counter, and I was able to get down to, he ended up splitting his Don between that small searcher. So I did have enough to be, he must have thought if I've got the 2 Don up, I must have a big defense coming up, where I didn't have any in hand. So sort of worked around that. And for that second last attack, what I did is I redirect into Viola. And I redirect into Viola. I've got 1 card in hand. It's a 1k. And I'm looking at this going, well, I can't get out of this attack here that he's doing. It's like a 6k attack. I've got 1k in hand. Can't get out of this. I need to redirect, but then I lose to the Kuzan, who's going to attach 2 Don. So what happens is I redirect into Viola, and we do know we've got Noro, but Noro is only going to give us +2. But I do have one other thing in my trash here. I take out the 0 cost event. The 0 cost event will give me +3k when I use the card in hand. He's got 2 Don back there to attach to his Kuzan. I'm thinking maths is great here. We're going to get this win. Anyway, we get the redirect. We take that, and he goes, all right, Sakazuki effect. Attach 1 Don to leader. Attach 2 Don to leader. Now we don't have enough. The Sakazuki effect, and I just wasn't familiar with it. This was 2 times. This not being familiar with this one effect took me out, because I could have taken out that Sakazuki earlier, and certainly I could have read this and known and planned my attacks differently. I mean, kudos to him, because he did play around this perfectly with the Hina. If I had have known Hina was in there that could have done that, I could have played around this differently, but this is the way it is, and I'm not disappointed with this loss. This was the one loss that I'm not disappointed with. We both played really well. One critical mistake in there was not knowing what Sakazuki did. So learn Sakazuki, because Kuzan is strong enough, right? That said, Kuzan is very, very easy for us to win against. We just need to set up right. This is not a losing match. I was worried about this match because I'd played it once before, and they just had such a big hand, established such a wide board. I knew that they were going to establish a wide board. I got 9 costs out, got 10 costs out. Like, I was using my 9 costs to get the wider board, to attack their board. I knew I just need to keep attacking their board to diminish their hand and don't go for life. And I just kept on attacking a board, and it paid off until the very end. Anyway, that was a loss. Record 4-5. I'm expecting there's only 10 or 11 rounds today, and I'd like to finish positively. So we need to win the next one. We need to win it. I don't want to go negative here. And last match here, we see purple Luffy. I have not seen purple Luffy for some time. However, I was thinking at some point, Purple Luffy would be really good in this meta. Just I was thinking Roger. That 10 cost Roger. I've been beaten by that Roger with a different deck. I'm very impressed by that 10 cost Roger. I think it's very underestimated. It wasn't in this matchup. Anyway, I digress. Purple Luffy here. We lose a dice roll. They choose first. Perfect. We want second anyway. We want to get to our 10 cost as quick as possible because they're going to have something that they're ramping to as quick as possible. Anyway, they do. They ramp quickly. I think turn 3, they're playing down their 8 cost Katakuri. Turn 4, they're playing down a second 8 cost Katakuri. So they've got 2 Katakuris on field. By the time we get to our turn 4, because they went first, remember, they went first and their turn 4. Sorry, I must have on turn 5. I must have missed one of my ramp. Anyway, turn 5, I take out one of the Katakuri. I've got another 10 cost in hand. And so, yeah, we go 10 cost, take out one Katakuri. He attacks. We direct into Monet here. We are able to ramp back up to 8. Next turn, we're on 10. Second 10 cost comes down, takes out their second Katakuri. Absolutely decimated their board. And from that point, they had 3 life. And they were reluctant to take a life at this point just because our board was so big and we could potentially get through. So that turn after that, we just hit into the character that they dropped. I can't even remember what it was. We just hit into it. I think actually it was a Sanji. They dropped a Sanji, tried to attack into us because we had no life. And, you know, I'm just redirecting, had so much in hand. This was not a worry for me. I wanted them to hit me with the Sanji. They attacked with Sanji, so we could just attack it back next turn. And I did some mean things like attacking low, like a 7 or a 8 into the Sanji, 8 into 7, just to get more cards from their hand before taking it down with the Doffy. So, yeah, just hit their hand. They had nothing. This was another sort of bitter win because, yeah, they had nothing against the deck at this point. And, you know, they said, oh, I could have done this. And I'm like, oh, I've got like Violas and Baby 5s just lined up. So every turn I could have lasted another 3-4 turns. And just the pressure with those Doffys, there was just no pressure on me on that game. Didn't feel great winning that one with such a commanding lead. All right, so we've talked about how all the matches went. You've got a general feel for how the day went for me. There is a lot of disappointment with my performance, but at the end of the day, I see this as learning opportunities. I do embrace failure because there is that learning opportunity. It doesn't get me down. It pumps me up to make me want to work harder and grow even more. So I'm not upset, just disappointed. Still smiling about it. But there is one saying that I always say that I often use, and the one thing that's better than learning from your own mistakes is learning from someone else's. So, as I said in this channel, I want to be there to help you guys grow as well as myself. This reflection is not just for me, it's for you guys, because I know a lot of you have not participated in the championship yet. It is upcoming in February for you guys. And if you're taking Doffy, I want you to be aware of these things. So let me talk about my reflections on the deck. 1, I'm not disappointed about taking Doffy. Doffy was excellent, an excellent choice for this meta. You know, my performance with Doffy was the questionable thing, not the choice of the leader. So let me talk about first how the Doffy impacts the whole tournament as a whole. My learnings here was I need to play faster because there's so many times where, you know, my opponents would also play a little bit slow. There was, you know, that game I said about the sponsored player. He was playing fast. I was playing fast alongside him. That game went really, really nice. We were, you know, that was actually probably my fastest game. we were able to have a discussion after, before the round even finished. This was really good. So it's not that it's not possible to finish earlier with the deck. It's just, your opponent taking time. And, we've only had OP14 for 2 weeks. So they still don't know all of the Doffy cards. There's a lot of, hey, what's that card do? Hey, what's that card do? Like, yeah, sure, read it, that's fine. And I don't really want to say, hey, speed it up when, they're reading the card, because that isn't entirely fair either. It was just the nature of the tournament. I mean, yes, it is a high-level tournament and they should know what the card is, but I don't want to deny them of that either. As I said, at the end of the day, I want to be better by making my opponents better. I don't want to just cheat out a win. And I got to say also, round 2, I didn't say this before, round 2, my opponent made a mistake. My opponent, he didn't place his life down and he drew his first card. It wasn't until my turn 2 where I went to attack and went, hey, where's your life? And I don't know if you guys know this. Most of you will know this. If you've drawn a card and you haven't placed your life down, you've put the game state into an irreversible state. That is a game loss. I knew this and could have called a judge on him, got him eliminated. In my mind, the difference between the top card and the second card, there's no difference. They're random, unless of course he stacked the deck, but they should be random. So in my mind, I said, hey, just put the life down. We're all good here. This is round 2. Everyone's nervous here. Just, you owe me one. Anyway, don't know how I got off on that tangent, but that did happen. Calling judge, this is why I was saying about it. I guess you got to be prepared to call a judge for slow play. If you're playing Doffy, people might try and slow play you. You have to be aware of this, and if you do notice it, call a judge. If they don't know your cards, you got to make that decision. This is something that is going to happen if you choose Doffy as a deck. Play faster, then you'll be able to clearly see if it's them or you, and you call a judge necessarily. Just, hey mate, you're taking a bit of time. Second, hey, I'm gonna have to call a judge. We're going too slow here. Don't like doing it in general because, as you can see, I'm not one for trying to win through those technical tournament rules. I'd rather just win on the mat. Let's go into number 2 here. The mental drain of using Doffy is high. The plays are complicated. I don't feel as though the mental drain hit me a lot, and it was probably more to do with the hydration levels. But every round went for 30 plus minutes, bar that, one. I mean, I was playing, there was 10 rounds. I would have had to have played at least 5 hours of actual gameplay. Might have been a little bit more because each one went for, on average, more than 30 minutes. That's the best way to say it. Each one went for more than 30 minutes on average. So that level of thinking for that amount of time is quite taxing. So do be aware of that. Prepare yourself for that. Do like long sim sessions if that's a thing. I don't think this was a particular trouble for me, but I'd happily do it again with Doffy. And I remember we were sitting down after waiting for all the announcements before collecting prizing, and I still felt like I could go another game. So I don't think that was a terrible drain on me. Like, I didn't feel depleted, but perhaps my decision making wasn't as strong as it could have been. So that's what I want to talk about in terms of Doffy and the tournament. I think he's a good choice in terms of meta. Really strong. If we're going to see lots of yellow, like yellow Luffy, and I think he is emerging, very strong as a whole. In terms of our top 32, I won't talk about the top, top 8 or anything like that, because I don't know that at the time of recording. At the time of recording, I only know the top 32. And we will chat a little bit about that as well. Let's first talk about the list. So, in terms of my list, I only used Gladius once. That was in one Moria match. I had 2 in hand. it helped, but I think I could have won without it. So I'm unsure if that's going to stay. I didn't see any bowlers. I didn't see anything else that's going wide on me. So it might be too early to call that I didn't need it. All right, let's talk about Divine Departure though. Divine Departure at 3 was the choice. This was not a problem at all. In fact, Divine Departure won me several games because of its negging effect. I think this is a 3 of, and it does add counter to hand, in the worst case scenario. It doesn't hurt to have 2 in hand, and there was a game where I had 2 in hand and used 1, got rid of, I think that was getting rid of the Mihawk, had a second 1 in hand, ready for when, a Beppo came down or something like that. Having the second 1 in hand because you've got extra in deck, not a bad thing. So Divine Departure at 3 was a solid choice. We're not going to drop it down lower than 3. Last one I want to talk about is I would have liked more Rosinante. And when I was going into the match, I was before submitting my deck list, right before submitting my deck list, I was thinking about the Gladius. I'm like, should I take this out? I've already made the decision. I want extra Viola because she is central to our game plan. And what I sort of find is Rosie, we don't want to see him early. This hasn't changed. We don't want to see him early. We want to see him after we establish the 10 costs. And what I kind of like is having a board of a 10 cost, a Virgo, and a Rosie. And then on top of that, we're going to do a Viola or Baby 5. And, depending on what the matchup is, it might be a 9 cost or it might be the Viola and Baby 5 as your 5 slots. The Rosie is really good because you're able to always have the 2 Don left. You're being super effective every turn because you've got an extra 2 Don to use. This is what I love about Rosie. He adds perfectly into the way I play this deck, and that is establish the big body, set up your defense, and you attack and defend. And your defense is going to be better than their attack, and you're going to win eventually because you can attack harder than they can. Here's the thing. So yeah, Rosinante, I think I would like him at 3. Definitely not 4. I think I would like him at 3 just to see him a little bit more, because there were some games where I went to it thinking I need the Rosinante. I'd do a search. Rosinante was one of them. And, the other one is like the ramp that I need for Curve. And it's a hard decision because I'm like, I would love this Rosinante later. And if I don't pick up this now, I might not see another one. So having 3, I think, would be feeling a lot better. They're the main things I want to talk about in my list, but we're not finished talking about lists just yet because I do want to share with you the top 32, and this is important. All right, so we actually have 2 placements of Doffy in the top 32. So congratulations to those guys because amazing efforts. I think one's called Self-Defense. This was this one, and the others PJ. Really, really strong. Now, let's have a look actually at the deck list that they ran for this tournament. And do remember, as I said, the Roger is not available for this tournament. So the competition is a little bit different to what you might see in your own. This is what they brought in. So having a look at this, this person here, this was Self-Defense, day 1, top 32, placed 6th. It was 6th on the charts here. Not sure how he finished. What I will do is, once I find that out, I'll throw in a comment of where the Doffy's placed. So this one here, we've got a 4 of each of our searches. I think this is good. We only have 1 Viola. So they've chosen 1 Viola. Interesting. They've gone to 3 Uso Hachis. So they're up 1 here. Don't know if this is because it's, doubles as a 2K. We've got 3 baby 5s. This is exactly what we had as well. And they've got only 3 sugars. So they're one less on the ramp on the 4 Don curve. They've got the 4 Monet. This is fine. They do the 3 Rosy. See, 3 Rosy is a good choice. They have 4 Virgo, the same as us. They've got 4 trebles. Okay, so this person here is playing 7 2Ks. 7 2Ks. Bit more than what I brought in. Now they've got the 4 8 costs and 3 10 costs. I'm starting to see something here, and I'm going to say it in a sec. We go for 4 Divine Departures. So I chose 3. Previously running 2, they've gone for 4. So obviously Divine Departure is a very strong choice here. 4 Nora Beams and 2 Bullet String. So they did like the Bullet String. I reduced my Bullet String, and I didn't really talk about Bullet String. I didn't use Bullet String once in the tournament. I had one opportunity where I had it in hand, didn't need to use it. I was just too strong on the board to even need it. As simple as that. The Noros were a better mechanism to rest their board and attack into it. I didn't need the Bullet String at all. And as I said, I didn't really see the go wide meta where the Bullet String would have helped. I was okay with just one. I was thinking, do I even need it? Seeing this list and seeing that I didn't go against those wide decks, I'll at least keep the one. Anyway, this is painting a picture for me, and I don't know if it's painted a picture for you as well, but there's a very distinct difference of what I'm seeing here. This is not saying that Viola's bad, and it's not saying that we need less ramp here, and it's not also saying that we need more counter. What this is saying is they have a different strategy to what we have. That's as simple as that. They, I think, have a more aggressive plan than what I'm going for. The reason I say that is they are running the 4 8 costs, the 3 10 costs. What this looks like to me is they are not too worried if they miss one of their ramp, because if they miss a ramp, this is saying they've got 10 ramp cards. They only need to ramp once. They've got 10 ramp cards. Maybe they want to go first. They get to 8 on curve. They can establish this down, go wide with maybe a Virgo or a ramp card. So they maintain that Don and go up from there. But they want to apply pressure earlier. They want a wide board to attack, and they're not as focused on this high defense plan. And because they're not as focused on the high defense plan, they need more counter to combat attacks that come in. This is how I read this situation. So this is a slightly different approach to what I've taken. Not to say that one is better than the other. I don't know what the matchups were that they had. I don't know if they saw things like Yellow Luffy. I don't know if the meta that you're going to have is going to present the exact same situation, that this list is going to be better than something that I'm running. Now, that said, I'm humble. Don't think for a second that I am better than this person here. This person got 6. It was an amazing level of competition at this championship. It was worthy of being a national championship. For this person to get 6th place, they have done incredibly well. No disrespect at all. This was a solid list. It won them, 9 of the games. It's a great list. What I'm saying is the difference between our lists is very minimal. The approach was what was different. And they probably didn't make mistakes like blocking Roger like I did. So what I'm saying is the lists are 2 completely different things. You can't take one and use half of it and then use half of mine. You need to understand what's going on here. What's going on is that they have reduced their defense on the board to go for more aggressive pressure. This is fine in the way that you play it. What I'm suggesting is don't reduce your Viola and not increase your 8 costs, because this is a recipe for disaster. And likewise, don't increase your 8 costs and leave all of these defensive cards in, or don't add the 2Ks in, because this isn't going to help either. or don't add all the 2Ks to the list and reduce, this down further with our current one, because that's definitely not going to work. We need 4 of these. And this is another thing I didn't talk about in the day. I sort of mentioned it. There was 2 games I didn't see the 10 cost. I would have loved 6 in the deck, so I could definitely find it. It's just crazy that I didn't find this card. Anyway, this is the 6th list. We do have one other placement here. All right, this one here, I believe it was PJ. Day 1, top 32, came 31st. Still an amazing effort. This is a record of 8-2, only lost 2 games. As I said, high level of competition. Losing those 2 games could have just been one small error there. So amazing effort for getting this far. All right, this list is a little bit similar to the last list. Let's start here. We've got 8 cost, we got the 10 cost, we go on 4 and 3. So it looks like they're going in for that aggressive game plan as well. Only running 2 Violas and 2 Baby 5, so obviously they don't have a lot of defense from the board. And 3 Nora beams? They don't care about the defense at all here, do they? They just must be trying to apply lots of pressure. And you can see here also, they've got 6, once again, 6 of the 4 cost ramp, 4 of the 5 costs. So they aren't trying to ramp high into this 10 cost. They're just trying to ramp once. I think this is a smart play. The biggest difference between someone reaching the top consistently and someone who's not consistently is the consistency of their deck. And let's think about it this way. There were some times where I missed the ramp. The chance that you miss 1 ramp in the game is a lot less than missing 2. And so to take an approach where you're going for the 8 costs as opposed to the 10, you're going to be a lot more consistent and going to see better results. So I think that's the biggest difference in the list. I think when we high roll, we are going to do better than this deck. But this deck here and the last deck are going to be a lot more consistent game after game and able to get to that top place. So that is another important take-home message. Consistency gets you the top places, not the power in the deck. I've gone for a powerhouse and it's fallen short a little bit. So this might be an adjustment we need to make or at least consider. So I'll do another list coming up very soon of a deck that I think would be great for Nationals, and I'll be playing that for a bit because, as I said, I want to prepare you guys as much as possible. Just because I'm done with mine doesn't mean I'm done for you guys. No, I'm still continuing on this Doffy journey to try and help you guys get the best result you can get. So I don't think I want to talk any more about their list. It looks very similar to the last list. However, a little bit short here to add 2 here. We've got a few more 2Ks than the last list. So they've still got the defensive pressure. This isn't a worry. I think they're going to see enough, and they're not really going for that defensive plan. They're going for an aggressive plan. If they can take put a lot of pressure on, attack the board, they can just stop the opponent's attack preemptively by just getting rid of their board first. So not a bad play here. Maybe this is something that we should really consider. All right, so I hope you guys have got something from this video. As I said, no gameplay, lots of information, a lot of my experience. As I said, a little disappointed that it was a 5-5. Don't feel like that's a very respectable number. But it was the number I got, and I don't want to be dishonest with that number. I want to show my failings so you can see where I went wrong and improve upon that. As I said, I do hope the best for you all with your upcoming tournaments, and I want you to keep using Doffy. Don't veer away from Doffy because of my experience. I only had 2 weeks with him. It's hard. Get lots of practice over the board with the Doffy to speed things up. That'll take away half your battles. Learn from these deck lists. I hope me breaking down those winning deck lists really helps guide you into a better Doffy list, and we'll continue our journey together from there. If you did like this video, please drop it a like, give me a sub if you haven't already, and we'll keep doing some Doffy. Until next time, look after yourselves and look after your decks.